Hello and welcome to People Online. We are now running a series on management book reviews. The first in this pack is The Case of the Bonsai Manager, a book written by R. Gopalakrishnan and published by Penguin. The video attempts to capture the essence of the book. However, this by no means is a book summary. What is a bonsai? Bonsai in Japanese literally means a tree planted in a container. These are trees and shrubs that have been artificially dwarfed for ornamental purposes. About the book and its author. What is this book all about? This book motivates and inspires us to realize our fullest potential. It uses analogies from nature to inspire us to grow our competencies. The book, therefore, has the potential to support coaching interventions. The ideas are original and the illustrations make the book interesting reading. About the author R. Gopalakrishnan. He is an alumnus of St. Xavier's and IIT Kharagpur, two institutes which require little introduction in Asia. He was the vice chairman of the board of Hindustan Unilever, was also a director at Tata Sons Limited for a considerable period of time. He is currently the CEO of the Mindworks and a professor emeritus at SP Jain Institute of Management and Research and IIT Kharagpur. The book talks about a study of crocodiles. In the early stages of evolution, crocodiles used to be 15 meters long. Today, the longest crocodile is about half that size. The ostensible reason for this is the shrinkage of their habitat and food sources. In some crocodile farms, baby crocodiles are being reared in small enclosures and given less nutrition to limit their growth. These unscrupulous crocodile farms cater to a growing demand for bonsai crocodiles to ornament private gardens and ponds in some parts of the world. From crocodiles, we move on to managers. The case of the stunted manager. When managers work in an area that throws up less challenges, she doesn't get the space to exert, mentally and physically. When she does not get enough nutrients by way of learning new capabilities, the manager becomes stunted. We move on to a story, the story of the disgruntled manager. A company was filling up the position of a general manager in a factory internally through promotion. A manager in the same factory had 25 years of experience in the foundry. He was hopeful of getting selected, but he was not considered. The candidate who eventually got selected had worked in different functions and had 15 years of experience in this company. Why do you think the person with less experience got selected? I think you may have guessed it right. This being a general manager position, the company valued the enhanced learning of the other candidate through exposure to varied challenges in different functions. The more experienced candidate was very disappointed and he sought a meeting with the management. How could you do this? He's 5 years my junior, he retorted. Needless to say, this did not have any effect on the outcome. We move on to another story, the marine fishing crisis. Japanese marine fishing industry once faced a challenge. As the fishing reserves around Japan got depleted, the Japanese fishermen had to go deeper into the sea than ever before. The turnaround time increased and the fish seemed to lose its freshness by the time it reached the markets. The fishermen installed freezers and subsequently saltwater tanks in their boats to store the fish, but the buyers continued to complain. What do you think could be a solution to this problem? Some of you may have guessed correctly. The solution sounds rather odd, but apparently this is what the fishermen did. The fishermen added small sharks in the fish tanks. Though the sharks ate some of the fish in the tank, they kept the fish on the move. As a result, the fish remained healthy and fresh for a longer period of time. the consumer complaints ceased. Moral of the story: we need to look for challenges that would keep us vigilant. Shark here is more like an analogy, and what the author seems to suggest is that we need sharks. Okay, and what could be examples of sharks in the real life? Added responsibility at the workplace, enrolling in a demanding developmental program while working, working in a challenging job role, working under a demanding manager. These are all examples of sharks that can get the best out of us. Story 3: Surf versus Nirma. In the 1960s in India, Unilever, operating as HUL, had a detergent brand called Surf that held a monopoly position in the market. In 1969, Nirma, a handmade local detergent, emerged, and that had a price that was less than one third of Surf. Nirma grew from strength to strength, and by 1987 it gobbled away significant market share from Surf, and the management felt an imperative to respond to this growing threat. Price cut was not an option, as it would erode profit and dilute the brand's premium appeal. So the shark in this case was Nirma, which killed complacency in HUL and injected the much needed energy and passion. We move on to another story: Snails versus lobsters. A study was carried out in a snail farm. Initially, the snails were given a predator free environment. They grew to a size of 4 millimeter in diameter. Their longevity was 4 months on an average. But when a predator, lobsters, were kept in the water, the snails grew to a size of 8 millimeters. Their longevity also improved to 12 months. Moral of the story: when faced with challenges, one adapts and devises a coping mechanism. In the process, one becomes better or smarter. So we come back to the story of Surf versus Nirma. Now there is a twist in the story. We discussed that Nirma killed complacency in HUL and injected the much needed energy and passion. Subsequently, a crack project team, codenamed Sting, was set up by the HUL management to devise an adequate response to Nirma. Based on the recommendations of this team, a new detergent was launched, having the brand name Wheel. The price was significantly lower than Surf, but higher than Nirma, but within comparable range. The Wheel eventually became the largest brand in the HUL portfolio. Sometime later, it even got launched in Brazil. Just like the lobsters made the snails bigger and healthier, Nirma helped HUL improve its product range and create greater value for the consumer. All great things have small beginnings. This quote on action orientation rhymes perfectly with the self help book, which is a part of this book. This would help readers to put to practice the ideas from this book and bring about self improvement. This part would be of interest to those who would like to use the book for coaching. Thank you for watching. If you like the content, please subscribe, like, and share. Press the bell icon to stay tuned in for our next video, which is on the book The Barefoot Coach by Paddy Upton. Until then, goodbye.